Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. This is episode 6 of making your Christmas trees out of wood. You can build this within probably easy 15 minutes. So I'm going to show you how to build it. So let's get started. So today I'm going to take some scrap wood that I have around. I have about a 2-foot piece of cedar fencing. I do have some scraps fencing around too. 2 foot's not going to be enough for what I want to do. I want to make a Christmas version of like the shadowbox that I made for Halloween. And at first I was going to do a 6-inch high one, but then I felt that was a little too low. Because if it was 6-inch, I would be able to use just this piece, 2-foot piece, and that's it. But I feel that 6 inches is too small. So I'm going to do an 8-inch version and do like a Christmas tree design. And it's not going to be as wide as that. I don't really need it that wide. I can almost cut this board in half for the width because it doesn't need to be wide, right? You're just putting a candle in it. So I'm going to try to use as much as this that I can, at least the top, the front, the sides, and then if I need a little extra, I have some scrap fencing that's not cedar, but I can always paint the back wall white, so actually when I have the candle in there, it kind of brightens inside. But let's get to cutting this and making our little shadow box. First thing, I'm going to cut this to 8-inch. Now this one has no knots, so definitely you'll have that for the front so I can cut it out without worrying about a knot being in the way. So I'm going to cut the 8 here, cut them in 3/8-inch sections, and then I can cut them down the middle for the sides and the top. And then I'll need to cut a back piece, which I'll probably have to do this, right? But let me cut this first, and then we'll get it all prepped. So I have the front, the 2 sides cut. I have this piece left over. I got a stencil. I was trying to find something. I got a stencil and I was trying to find something that was a good size. So I found this online. It's actually like a template of this that you can make your own, where the tree slides in and the star slides on. But this is a good size for an 8-inch top, right? So I blew it up a little bit from the original size. I got it about 5 inches. So that's good. So if I decide that I want to hide everything behind that one piece there, behind this, if I want to put everything behind this piece and not show any other borders other than this, then 5 inches is good, considering I have 3 inches of spare. So I can go 1.5 inches from the bottom and 1.5 inches from the top or whatever. So I'm going to probably try to center that tree in there just so you can't see the candle in the background. You just see the light from behind. So I'm gonna get my carbon paper and scribe that so I'm not just using that, right? And then we'll use a jigsaw for that. So to try to get this as square as possible, I'm gonna have to try to get this square. So I think what I'll do is I'll line it up with the bottom and the side to square at least that up, and then I'm gonna have to try to square that up with that because I want to make sure that even this is equal on both sides. So hopefully I can get that square, because if I can't, once I trace it on and I pull it off, if it doesn't look like it's square, I'm just gonna have to cut this out and then glue it on there and cut it out that way. It's not a big deal. I just like to save the paper so I don't have to keep printing them out if I try to do something different, because eventually I may want to do this as well. So let me see if I can get that square on there and drawn on. So what I did, I'm going to show you. I put this 2x4 here so I can butt everything up against it. So I taped the carbon paper from the top edge and the side edge, and then did a measurement, and from the edge of the paper it's almost equal, pretty close to being equal on both sides from the tip. As you can see, it's a 5 1/4, right? So if I go to my bow just under half there, just over half there, from that to that, so I can slide that slightly over, but I want to make sure that I'm butted up against, so I'm level, right? And then I did 1 inch from the top to give me more room at the bottom for the candle to hide, right? So I'm going to scribe that on there. We'll take off the carbon paper and we'll see what we got. Now to cut that, I'm going to have to drill a few holes here in there just so I can get my jigsaw blade in there. So let's get a drill bit and then we'll start cutting. Now you want to make sure you get a drill bit that's wider than your blade for your jigsaw, so it goes in there nicely. And then pick a few spots, because a lot of these are more than 90-degree angles, so it'd be hard. You're gonna have to get them from 2 different angles, right? So you can make a few spots along both sides so you can get in there. As long as you can always just go in the middle if you want, and then just go each direction, kind of like right along these lines if you want. It's up to you, right? So maybe that's what I'll do, and then I'll cut these lines straight, and then I can go back and get them on the angle. So I'm going to use it on a piece of 2x4 here, so I don't split it too much on the other side. Alright, so I gotta still sand it down. I didn't want to sand it until after I cut it anyways. I tried to keep it inside, as you can still see the scribe mark here, but not on this side. But you can see it's still not perfectly centered, but I'm pretty close. So let me sand this, and then we'll start assembling it. We'll sand all the pieces, Still haven't cut top and bottom yet, but we can do that after we get the sides on, so we can determine exactly how big we need to do it. Okay, so let me sand this down. So I will line everything up and then mark my piece to cut for the top and the bottom, and then I'll glue the front on after I have the rest of the box, just so you don't see any nails. I don't want to see those brad nails, considering it's cedar. I'm not going to put any color on it. I'm just going to put some poly on it, and then that's it. So let me build this box. All right, I got this one done. So what I'll do is I'll brad nail the two sides to that, and I have this piece which I'll use and cut to the bottom. I just want to get this on first, and then you can measure it out. Grab my brad nailer, and I'm going to nail these together. Now I'll have to clamp it so I get it square, right? Okay, so a brad nail base. Now I could put that on here and then glue it. I can square it up when I glue it, and then I'll clamp it so it's in the right spot. What I can do is I can always, once I square this up, is do it on the inside, so you don't even see. It's got to be this. Everything could be on the inside of this box too, right? I got the width there, that even when it's inside, I'll still have enough room for the candle. Just enough room for the candle. Because this is going to sit over top. Everything else will be hidden inside. So you won't see any of these, oops, you won't see any of these trims. You only see this. Everything else will be hidden behind it. So let me cut the inside. I'm gonna have to square this off first, and then we'll cut the inside of that, and then we can brad nail that too. So a little change on me using this. The reason I'm not going to use this fence board, because I'm looking at all the lines and cracks in it, and when I paint it white, you're going to kind of see that. I have a little leftover piece that's almost perfect. Just a little bit, the height's perfect. See? And it's just a little bit wider than the base. So I'm going to cut this down and fit that in there. So nice tight fit in there. I'll put some brad nails along the side, and then I'll glue the top on there. Got some poly on here now. I even did a coat on the inside. Still waiting for it to dry, but I'm going to glue this now onto the box so I can finish up the video. And there you go. Just from scrap wood. And well, pretty much do this in 15 minutes like a couple of my other videos. So if you have any questions, leave in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified when I post another video. We'll talk to you later.